What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Havoc Sports Podcast, episode number 45.
Big 45 in the building, and one thing is I think as we hit episode 45 is I don't think we would have been this long. We would have thought we would have went this long and stuck with 45 episodes of a podcast. You know, we kind of just started doing it for fun, and we got some good feedback, so we're kind of just, coasting along, seeing what we could find, seeing what we could talk about. And today we are talking about a Dynasty mock draft. And if for those of you that don't know what a Dynasty league is, it is basically you draft rookies every year, and that's your guys' draft. Yeah, I think you got 2 or 3 rounds. I don't know how that works, but
NFL draft, but for fantasy football.
Right, and it's all rookies. So we got a 12? A 12?
Yeah, we just did a first rounder.
Yep, a first round mock here. Pretty much the most impactful players for the rookies that has the biggest impact. So let's get straight into it. At number 1.
Yeah. So I had the odds. Harry had the evens. If you're picking at number 1, this is a very exciting year to have sucked last year.
Yeah.
You put in all that effort for Ashton Genty. I don't see anyone else taking that spot from Ashton Genty. Even on the notes, I put no comment. I mean, the guy's a freak. The offense isn't great, which means you're going to see a lot of running the football.
Yeah, I mean, name a wide receiver besides Jacoby Myers there.
Yeah, I mean, you have Brock Bowers.
But
Geno Smith, even when he was at the Seahawks, you didn't see crazy wide receiver production.
Right.
Amongst guys like
Kenneth
DK
Walker, though.
And Jackson Smith. But Kenneth Walker, and when he was out and Charbonnet was in, they ate pretty frequently.
And who's their coach over there at the Raiders? Pete Carroll, right?
Yep.
So I 100% agree. When it comes down to Ashton Genty, he's the number 1 talent. Fantasy-wise, running, we saw it last year with Saquon, running backs are going to give you, and now Bijan, even Bijan, those running backs coming in with fresh legs, they're going to give you a lot of points for the first, 3-4 years.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a guy in regular fantasy drafts that you could see possibly going at the end of the first round.
Right.
So to have a rookie that will go in the first round of a regular redraft fantasy draft with all players involved, this is definitely a player that will be sticking around on your team for a long time.
Yeah, a long time. Derrick Henry type of vibe.
Oh, yeah.
At number 2, we have another running back, the guy right behind him, Amarion Hampton. He's with the Chargers. The Chargers, I think, lost Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins in free agency. Besides those two, they didn't really have anybody. They had a Kelly, I think Joshua Kelly, not very good running back, so there's really no competition for Amarion Hampton. He's got the running back 1 position, and we saw last year, Gus Edwards, when he was playing full-time running back 1, he was a flex option, he was a running back 2 option. So I think with Amarion Hampton fresh legs, yet again, I think with John Harbaugh's offense that he's got going on over there, he's only going to get fed the ball. So I think it's a solid pick at number 2. You could go, maybe McMillan or someone that is going to be there because they're a top 5 pick or whatever. But, Harbaugh loves running the ball.
Yeah, and I feel like with Dynasty, you're not looking for necessarily immediate impact. I mean, with Genty, you are for obvious reasons, but when you're drafting in Dynasty, you're looking for the future, You're trying to rebuild your team for the future. So when you're up in that top position, you're looking for high potential. J.K. Dobbins was phenomenal in fantasy for the Chargers. Zach is the one who had him last year, got him like a junk pick.
I was going to say, I think it was like in the couple last rounds. He got J.K.
and
Dobbins.
He was an RB1 for most of the season until he got hurt. I think he finished as an RB2 on the season.
Right.
I mean, this is an offense that's set up for success.
Yep.
You would think a lot of pass first because Justin Herbert, but you look at the receivers and there's not a lot there besides Ladd.
Yeah, Ladd and Johnson kind of kicked it in.
And usually on an offense and on a good offense, it's about 2 players that eat. So Ladd's one. Who else is going to eat? And like you said, I think it's given to the running back there. He's elusive. I think even though Herbert doesn't do it a lot, he'll be able to have a couple checkdowns, and he can make plays based off that.
Right.
Number 3, I'm going to be honest, I looked at running back again, but I think if you're in the number 3 spot, why not take best best wide receiver there. I took Tetro McMillan. I think he's a high upside player. I think he's an immediate wide receiver 1. Whether people like it or not, I know Legette's there. I know Thielen's there. Thielen's like 45 million years old now, and Legette shows flashes, but it's not where I want to see him. I think he could be a really good wide receiver 2.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people forget that this team, when you just look at the record, yeah, it's not great for the Panthers, but towards the end of the season, things started to click when Bryce Young came back in. It's like something finally clicked in his head.
Yeah, he was cooking.
And the game started to make sense. So though this isn't a great offense, it's a steady offense that's continuing to get better. It's a continuing rising offense. And I would want, I guess you wouldn't say the face of it because that would be Bryce Young, but I want the face or the head of that offense, who I think is T-Mac, as soon as he comes in. We saw at Arizona, he was a great receiver. He reminded me, honestly, a lot of Michael Thomas. Get him on the slants, get him across the middle, and let him put in the work. Bryce Young doesn't have to do too much. He's just got to put the ball on him, and T-Mac will do the rest for him.
Yeah, and that's the thing is when they brought T-Mac in, they knew Adam Thielen signed, a 1-year, 2-year contract with an extension. So I think they realized their order right now, Legette, they didn't bring him in to be a franchise-saving or a franchise-saving wide receiver. They brought him in, to give someone at least a blanket, you know what I mean? Like, and Legette, he's good, don't get me wrong, he's good, but he's kind of like a Tyler Lockett type of deal, you know what I mean? He's destined to be a solid wide receiver 2 to 3. So yeah, I definitely agree with McMillan on that number 3. But at number 4, we have another running back, of course. It is Quinshon Judkins from Ohio State that went to the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns run game kind of looked bad last year. He had Nick Chubb get hurt. After that, they had Jerome Ford come in. Kareem Hunt went to the Kansas City Chiefs before they could sign him. So they really have had nobodies running the ball back there. And so, getting a guy like Quinshon Judkins, who's ran kind of has fresher legs than all these running backs because he split reps with Henderson. You know what I mean? Or yeah, right, Henderson. Yeah, Henderson.
Yeah.
So he's got fresh legs. You don't have a good quarterback. You got a mid-tier wide receiver core, Jerry Jeudy, and the rest are nobodies.
I still consider him mid-tier.
Yeah. And then you have David Njoku, which he's decent, but you still got to figure out your quarterback situation. I do believe
you got 5 of them.
Yeah, I do believe they're going to rely on the run game. They got offensive line. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you're going to rely on that run game. So I think if Judkins can stay healthy, he's going to be a dark horse for rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year, if he can stay healthy.
And I think at the start of the draft, he would have probably been farther down on my list, but with Nick Chubb going to the Texans, I believe it was.
Yep.
It's wide open back there.
There's nothing back there,
Jerome Ford is a pretty good receiving back, but outside of that, if you don't get him in open space, he does nothing.
And we saw what this guy does in open space. He's a Gibbs type of talent. He has a whole bunch of speed. You know what I mean? He has that quick burst. So I think like I said, you still have a couple good offensive linemen, Jedrick Wills. You still got a couple good offensive linemen there. Run the ball. You're in the dog pound. You've always been known to run the ball. Just trust your rookie on that.
Yeah, and I mean, these are the 3 running backs we talked about easily could be, if not are locked. I mean, Genty is, but the other 2 could easily be RB1s to start the season.
Yeah, that's what I'm
definitely
saying.
Possible. So the value is definitely there for them. The Browns aren't great. I don't see a path where they're going to be even a contender for the playoffs. What I do like is Judkins could be a receiving back out of this, and if you're down by a lot of points, you're going to be looking to pass, which means he could get checkdowns. If it's points per reception, you're very okay with that. Moving on to number 5, I went with Tyler Warren, the tight end for the Colts. I think this is an old reliable. Anthony Richardson has to wake up. I feel like this is a prove-it year for him. And I'm not talking about winning games. If you win games, whatever, but if you can't throw a football, you're not going to be a quarterback in this league, whether you're winning games or not. What's the point if you win 11 games a season, make the playoffs, lose every time? That's not going to prove anything. This guy can't pass as of yet. I'm not saying couldn't happen, but I think when you get someone like Tyler Warren that can be that old reliable piece, we saw it with Drake May. Who was he comfortable with? Hunter Henry. Over and over. Every time they got in the red zone, Hunter Henry. I think Tyler Warren could be that type of player when you look at him and you're in the red zone, I feel like if Richardson can pull off his legs a little bit instead of trying to run first,
Try to pass the ball.
that will be the target.
Yeah, and I think with Richardson, I think I've already heard that he's had some injuries coming up in the OTAs. With Tyler Warren, you're going to draft him for the future, but the quarterbacks, I mean, Colts got to figure out that position, dude. I mean, they have not been the same since Andrew Luck.
He has to throw the football.
He
cannot win games with the guy throwing 10 times a game.
Right, and relying on Jonathan Taylor. Like, you can't do that.
At one point, they won last year by like 3 points. It was like 13-10. And some of our buddies who are Colts fans are excited. And I go look at the stats, and Anthony Richardson is 6 for 10 on the game.
89 yards.
That's not okay.
No, it's not. And that's the thing with the Colts is for Tyler Warren to succeed, they got to get a quarterback.
And like, if you want, it works both ways. Yeah, it's on Anthony Richardson, but it's also on the coaching staff. If Anthony Richardson can throw the football and we're okay with how he's playing, then give him the opportunities to throw the football.
Yeah, just let him chuck.
Like, 10 times a game will absolutely tank. So I picked Tyler Warren at 5 because, like you said, we're looking for the future heavy. Don't expect great results off the rip.
Who's their backup?
I'm sorry. Now? For tight end?
No,
or for quarterback?
Quarterback. I know they drafted Riley
I don't know,
Leonard from Notre
Joe
Dame.
Joe Flacco's not there anymore.
No.
Minshew's not there anymore.
No. So,
but I mean, it has to be somebody that can throw.
Daniel Jones.
Yeah,
that's who it is. Danny Dimes. That's who you need in there.
If he goes in,
he's gonna cook with.
Then you could probably see
Warren.
early results for Tyler Warren. But if Richardson's in, maybe lean more towards the future.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. That's a good pick for Tyler Warren. At number 6, it's kind of a skeptical pick, but I think it has good value for the future. As quarterbacks go in and out. Cam Ward. He's young. He's a rookie quarterback, and you can get him, and someone could need a quarterback and offer you a first-round pick for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, do I believe he, it might be a little high for at number 6? Absolutely, but I think if you already have a team and you just have the number 6 draft pick, why not draft him and get another first-round pick out of him in this year? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think here he's going to be a great quarterback. He's got weapons, I believe. He's got a tight end that he can dump on. He's got a little bit of a running game. The running game's a little bit skeptical for me. I don't think Tyjae Spears and
I see a lot of receiving out of that backfield.
Yeah, and I don't like that. But Cam Ward's known to throw checkdowns, so you're automatically going to have some type of yardage when you're getting checkdowns. You get your running back out in open field, you're going to get yardage. So I think if you're picking at 6, you need a quarterback or a backup quarterback. This is a great pick, but if you're picking at 6 and you're just looking to add value to your team, this is a great pick as well. You know what I mean? So Cam Ward being at 6, I think, like I said, it's only here for value. I think, Cam Ward is going to be a great quarterback, but I don't think he's going to be a top 15 quarterback or top 10 quarterback in fantasy at all.
Yeah, and I mean, he could shock you, right? The rushing side's there. We've seen in college that he rushed for many touchdowns, and he's got the legs to do it. And this is one of those picks, a lot of people in regular fantasy football hate taking quarterbacks early. You never see a quarterback go 1 or 2 or anything like that because there's very limited option in other positions. But if you take Lamar Jackson in round 4 and the guy's averaging 33 points while your opponent's wide receivers that they took in the second round are averaging 14 each, you're still gaining by taking that quarterback. You're plus 2ing both his receivers with your quarterback right there.
Yeah.
So taking a quarterback early can have its risks. That offensive line scares me, but if they let Cam Ward come out and start swinging early, this could be a pick that definitely pays off. And you pass on a receiver here, but who's to say he doesn't score more than the receiver does?
We saw it with Jaden Daniels. Everybody was like, "Yeah, we'll pick him up at the start of the second round, just because why not?"
Yeah, and now he's the 3rd quarterback projected to go off. Yeah.
So great pick at 6, like I said, value pick. But moving on to 7.
Yeah, and this is a somewhat biased pick.
I think it's kind of a lock, though, to be honest.
It is, but I just love the player and what I'm seeing. At number 7, I picked Travion Henderson. I think this could be a starter midway through the year. I think this is going to be a 50-50 field coming out. Ramondre's not a bad running back by any means, and the reason I think it stays 50-50 is because we just gave him like $38 million. The shiftiness, the power, watching Travion Henderson in OTAs, this is probably one of the best players, top 3 that we have on our team.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's saying a lot for a rookie. This guy in college was super shifty. Working with Judkins, it was like a double punch in the face. There was nothing you could do. Whichever running back was on the floor or on the field, it just didn't matter. He's out there returning punts. This guy just doesn't care.
No.
He's a Patriot through and through. He's willing to do whatever it takes. And I'm sure Drake May, with that offensive line being cheeks, is going to have to give him the ball a lot 5 yards behind the line.
Yeah,
So he's going to be getting catches. He's going to be getting open field, which is what he needs to be in, open field. And I think he's going to honestly have a lot of success really early on. Because Gibson's, I think he passed Gibson. I think he's right up there competing with Stevenson.
Yeah, you cut Gibson. You get him the hell out of 10
it's not a 3-back field. I think it's 50-50 to start, and I think by week 8, I think this could be a 60-40 in favor of Henderson for sure.
Right, 100%. I think it's a good pick. It's not really too biased at all just because he's got potential to be running back 1 on a team, like you said, that's a lottery pick, or not a lottery pick, but a top 10 pick team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So having any type of good running back on a team that's not very good, they're going to get good yardage. Just look at Derrick Henry when he was on the Titans. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So good pick at 7. At number 8, which is kind of low, you guys are probably like, where's Travis Hunter at, you know? We don't know where he's going to play. You know what I mean? We don't know if he's going to play corner more. We don't know if he's going to play wide receiver. We've been hearing more wide receiver, but we also been seeing him play corner.
And he's been demanding that he plays both sides of the field,
so I
which
don't know
means
how much,
less of each.
Yeah, I don't know how much offense he's going to see, but on that end, if he does see some type of offense, it's going to be in the red zone. You know what I mean? He's a great route runner, very elusive. He's, you put him against man coverage when he's on the offensive side of the ball, he's going to get open.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's just that type of dude. He has a very good time, or he has a very good high point catch. He can shift his body very well. So I think, just giving him fades in the red zone. I think at number 8, the only reason why I'm having him here, I think this high, is because of the red zone and maybe the touchdown catches he's going to get.
Well, and I think what helps his value too is he honestly went to the perfect spot, because if it's the Browns, he's not getting this opportunity. But when he steps onto the field for offense, he's wide receiver 2.
Yeah.
Which means he's in single coverage. In the Browns, I think he's better than Jeudy. I know Jeudy had a nice season last year. I don't think Judy's that good. I think Travis Hunter would have been wide receiver 1 at Cleveland. Here he gets the opportunity. He'll be in single coverage in the red zone. I think the upside is there, like you said, but the reason he can't go higher is limitations.
Yeah.
And the reason I don't like him being any lower is because the red zone upside.
Yeah.
So he's in that perfect spot of being right in the middle. I think he'll have a nice time in Jacksonville, a lot easier flow in starting as the wide receiver 2, because Brian Thomas just had a great rookie season.
Yeah, everybody knows about him now.
Like a top 8 wide receiver, so you're clearly not beating that out right now. You don't need to, because you're in a great spot as a rookie.
And you're playing defense too.
Yeah,
so.
And you're going to play defense. So I think 8's a fair spot. I know some people really like to gas Travis Hunter, probably up in like 1 through 5, and you let them take him gladly. You don't even hesitate.
I don't want him. I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even know what. Is he even going to go in a fantasy draft?
I don't think so.
Like a full fantasy draft where there's a 12-man league.
I see all these guys maybe outside of Cam Ward going, and not him. I actually see a couple people after him that I think will go.
Before him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And I mean, we can talk about those when we get there.
Yeah.
Let's
move on to mine, though. I'm tired of talking about Travis Hunter. I can't stand him, though. Let's be real. Like, the way he carries himself, like, he just thinks he's Medusa or something.
And his wife.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyways, at number 9, I put Emeka Ibuka solely on upside.
Yeah.
Baker's there. I like it. Mike Evans is going to be wide receiver 1 for however long he decides to play because he's guaranteed 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. It's just a thing. But I think we're going to see a lot of wide receiver 2 play early. Godwin's had a pretty significant injury, and Godwin cannot stay healthy. That's nothing against him.
I'm surprised they didn't trade him.
We offered him $127 million. Did you know that?
Yeah, I heard about that.
And he turned it down for $66 million, and I was the happiest Patriot alive. But that's a different story. Emeka, he's a great player. He was great at Ohio State. I think you'll see wide receiver 2 pretty early. You're not going to see wide receiver 1 this year. You're not going to see it next year. But when Mike Evans retires, that's when this pick has got the potential to be a grand slam. And you get him later in the first round, so you're not pushing that early pick on upside, and because then you're going to be a little scared, because usually when you're picking 1 through 3, you want to see that immediate impact, and you're probably not going to see that from him from this year. But this is a guy you can put on your bench, come back a couple years later, and this guy's going to be your starting wide receiver through and through, and you're going to be very happy you made that investment.
Right, and he had a long reign over there at Ohio State, and he was pretty much wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1 the whole time. He had a bad year there where he got hurt with his ankle when I think it was Marvin Harrison's year. But like you said, he's been on a couple talented teams. He's been against a lot of good corners.
Yeah.
So I think the Tampa Bay getting the experience as a wide receiver 3, because they didn't really have any wide receiver 3. The last time I remember they had a wide receiver 3 is when it was Tom Brady and it was Scotty Miller.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. And I mean, he's on all those Ohio State teams, he's always had his name in the hat.
Yeah.
Like, you always know he's out there.
He's been top 4 playmakers on every team.
You know he's out there every time.
Yeah. But at number 10, we're staying in the Big Ten again. Caleb Johnson, he got drafted to the Steelers. They traded away Najee Harris, or they didn't trade him away. They didn't sign him, I think. I don't think they signed him.
Yeah, they didn't want him.
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't think he had 1 year where it was pretty gross, and he still had like 1,000 yards.
But he had 1,000 yards every year,
and it wasn't a sexy 1,000.
I was hoping for the Bears to sign. I was like, dude, we get him, we're GGs.
Y'all got Swift.
Come on. But anyways, Caleb Johnson. They have not Tyler Warren. What's his James Warren?
Jalen Warren.
Jalen Warren.
That guy sold me in fantasy.
Yeah, Jalen Warren is their 1 right now.
No, he ain't.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like he can carry the boats. You know what I mean? He can't carry the logs when it comes to wide receiver or running back 1. So I think Caleb Johnson. I was wanting the Bears to get him so bad. You know what I mean? Like, dude,
such a sneaky pick.
He is so good. Like, you look at the Iowa offense, like, these guys stink.
Yeah.
And then they run the ball like 5 times, 5 yards, 5 yards,
yeah.
5 yards, 5 yards. It's like, hold on, who's this guy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, this is David Montgomery. You know what I mean? And it's truly who he plays like. The yards after contact for this guy is going to be absolutely disgusting.
I think he's more explosive than Montgomery too.
Yeah, and so when I'm looking at the Steelers offense, they got rid of George Pickens. So what? You got a running back that can run the ball 5 yards every carry. Yeah, you got DK, you got Pat Freiermuth, right. you got actually the rest are nobodies.
You got Rodgers.
Oh, yeah, they did go out and get A-Rod, didn't they?
Yeah, so no checkdowns.
No checkdowns. They're chucking that post all the time.
Yeah, but you will get handoffs.
Yeah, handoffs. Caleb Johnson's going to get the ball, and that's what I think.
Yeah,
he's going to be running back 2, obviously probably the start of this season, but with a weakened running back room on the Steelers, Jalen Warren's not going to be there for too long at running back 1. So I think, if you can get him at pick 10, this is awesome. You know what I mean?
This is one of those guys I think will go before Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Steelers love the outside runs. With
Najee
an
wasn't good for that.
Explosive player like Caleb Johnson. Warren did it his first year there, and he did it very well. Last year, he was terrible at it. Caleb Johnson's going to take this backfield.
Yeah.
It's just when. At what time. So, like I said about Emeka, this is a guy that you're probably going to start on your bench, but sooner or later, he's going to force his way into your dynasty lineup.
Yeah.
Super explosive. This guy's a beast.
He could be definitely a flex
option. The path
option.
is there.
Yeah.
Like, the path is there for him. And at pick 10, you're very happy with that pick. Pick 11, I went upside again.
Yeah, this is crazy. I wasn't even going to think I was going to see him in the top 2 rounds.
Yeah, I was between 2 Bears players. I was between Colson Loveland and I was between Luther Burden. And both for the same exact reason. And that's because I don't think DJ Moore's going to be there much longer.
I think he's out after this year.
Exactly my point.
Yeah.
And nothing against the Bears. I don't see a path to success for playoffs. And DJ Moore is getting to the point in his career where he's about to start trying to chase to actually see what a playoff game looks like because he's never seen one.
Right.
That's nothing against him. At some point, you see almost all athletes, besides the very few loyal, they start ring chasing. They start getting on teams that are really good.
Right.
Look at Deebo Samuel.
And that's what's sad is when we do get rid of DJ, not to switch subject, it's going to be for so little.
Yeah, it will be. But with Burden, you're not playing him this year. You're not. You're not putting a wide receiver 3. He's not moving up at all.
I don't think we will have a wide receiver 3 this year. Yeah, you're right.
He's not getting that chance. Like, he's not passing a Dunze. He's not passing Moore. But when DJ Moore goes out, that's where the potential shines.
And he can't stay healthy.
Roma Dunze is going to move to 1. He's going to be in the double coverage. You're probably going to have the middle kind of clogged up by Loveland. And this, to me, is almost fitting of a Juju Smith-Schuster with Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
I could see that upside.
We got to see Rome do something, though.
Yeah,
like,
but
we don't even know if he's going to be a good wide receiver 2 yet.
I've seen the flashes. The
Of wide
potential was
receiver
there
3.
last year.
He was in the slot, though. That was
exactly, and the potential was there.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think Rome Odunze will be great, maybe, but I don't know about Luther
I like
Burden's.
He's just got to get his attitude right.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem with him right now. Ben Johnson's got to break that attitude.
Yeah. But like, if someone said they would rather take Loveland here, I think those are the possible two, unless you go running back, which we'll discuss in a minute.
Loveland might see something, yeah.
But, and your pick is actually another person I think is going before Travis Hunter does.
Following the last pick of the draft, last pick of the first round is R.J. Harvey. He got drafted, I believe, in the second round.
Yep.
He was drafted by the Broncos. The Broncos traded, I think, Javonte Williams to the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. And McLaughlin and whoever that other nobody is.
Yeah.
Stink.
Yeah. And
my goodness.
That's in my notes here. Is, you got I think it was Jalal McLaughlin.
He was cheeks. Booty cheeks, dude.
He's a receiving bag. There's nothing more than a screening.
That.
He can catch screens, but this RJ Harvey dude, if his last name was Jonty, you'd be hearing the same. I mean, this dude's nasty.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything about him. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh yeah, this would be Caleb Johnson. All of a sudden, RJ Harvey. I'm like, who in the world is that?
This guy's nasty.
And I looked at it. I mean, he's not playing the best competition and where he's playing at, but
don't matter. When you see talent, you see talent.
That dude, he was moving different. And I'm telling you, when I see talent, and you know how Sean Payton is with his offense.
Yeah.
If you're feasting, you're feasting. He's just going to give you the ball. You know what I mean? And they don't have a dominant wide receiver core yet. They figured out their quarterback position. They got a decent tight end. But their wide receivers, Cortland Sutton, and the rest are nobodies. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, this is a guy that, I do a lot of scouting, and usually I hit pretty good on my picks. This is a guy that low-key, had we not taken Henderson, this is somebody that I would have wanted. And for him to go to the Broncos was just the perfect spot for him to be. McLaughlin is no better than a manager at McDonald's, bro. I'm telling you, I had him on fantasy last year. He's out there wasting his time and wasting people's money.
He's giving you 5 points a game.
Yeah, this guy's going to be starting week 2. They're going to run the ball 2 times in week 1. They're going to throw it the rest of the day. And when they come back in week 2, R.J. Harvey's going to be starting.
Yeah, because they'll realize, wow, what did we see in this guy?
Elusive. I think he's going to be a very late pick in fantasy, but I think it's going to be a pick that pays off. It's going to be somebody that I'm going to be trying to survey at running backs. Obviously, you don't want to take them too early, but
yeah, because you never know what they're going to be.
It's somebody on my radar because, like you said, that backfield stinks.
Mm-hmm.
They stink.
And they got a good quarterback and they got a decent wide receiver, but when you look at that backfield, you're like, man,
when Javonte got hurt, it was done.
Yeah, that
offense
was
freaking done.
Toast.
I mean, Bo Nix was literally handing it off to himself.
He's just got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
If R.J. Harvey can just run the ball and stay healthy, he's going to have 1,000 yards.
Bo Nix was handing it off to himself because it was so bad back there.
100%. But that's the first round Dynasty mock mock draft that we have for you guys. When we look at it, we kind of looked at, like Colton was mentioning, a lot potential. You know what I mean? Like, with Luther
Dynasty.
Burden, with Dynasty, you got 2 to 3 years for that pick to work. It's kind of like you're running your own team almost. You got 2-3 years until that pick doesn't work, then you drop them. You know what I mean? So we looked at impact and we looked at potential, and I think that we did a pretty good job, in my opinion. To be honest, some people are going to hate that Travis Hunter pick, but I just don't see him playing a big impact in fantasy at all. You know what I mean? So he might play a big impact on both sides of the field.
There's different. You can be a great player and not do a lick for fantasy.
Right.
It's not like we're saying he's going to be a bad player.
Right.
He's just bad for fantasy.
Exactly. And there's two different things, like you said. But that's episode 45. We hope you guys enjoyed it, and we appreciate all the support. And leave down in the comments maybe what we could look at next. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really know what's on our plan. You know what I mean?
Waiting on the OTAs.
Yeah, we're kind of
waiting
waiting
on
on
fantasy in.
I think we're during the break of OTAs and actual mandatory practice right now. So once we get to the point of mandatory practice, we might be able to cover a little bit more. But we're kind of in a blind spot right now. So, but anyways, we appreciate the support. You guys have a good weekend, and see you later.
See ya.